All right. Good evening. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our first panel for this project that we are doing today. We will get into our discussion, but first, I'd like for you to introduce who you are, what you do as a job, and what is your association with New Life Seventh Day Adventist Church. We'll start with Dr. Charles Crosby, and then we'll go with Dr. Chris Crosby. Then we'll go with Takira Bryce, and then last we'll go with Pastor Jamil Adams.
I'm Dr. Charles Crosby. I'm a dentist, retired, but I'm an educator, teaching two universities, dental hygiene and dental assisting. My relationship with New Life is I'm first elder. That's my position, I guess, and uh, 30 years.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Chris Crosby.
Um, Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Chris Crosby. I am a retired educator after teaching about 35 years at the technical level, technical college level. My second profession is, of course, a licensed professional counselor. Um, and of course, at New Life, I am one of the elders there, and I'm also co-family life leader.
Thank you so much. Miss Bryce, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Takira Bryce. I currently don't have a profession right now, but future business major, healthcare management, and I'm co-leader AYS at New Life SCA Church.
Thank you. Thank you. Pastor Adams.
Yeah, I am Jamil Adams, currently a pastor in California. And prior to becoming a pastor, I was a member at New Life.
Nice, nice. And so our whole conversation is stemming from this problem that you see below. The New Life Seventh Day Adventist Church in Rock Hill, South Carolina, has no ministry presence with the three local universities. And so, over a system of different panels, we're going to discuss different problems that are within that. And hopefully, we'll come up with some solutions. So, the very first question that I'll be asking the panel is this: what are the most effective ways a local church can use digital platform to connect with students at nearby colleges? This panel is going to look at following Jesus in a digital age, reaching college students where they are. So again, our question is, what are the most effective ways a local church can use digital platforms to connect with the students at nearby colleges? Anyone that want to go first can go first.
I think one of the ways that they can connect is through perhaps online Bible studies,
Mhm.
um, using Zoom. That's one way that we could connect with them. Um, I think there are various social media um, platforms that perhaps could be used to um, encourage the students to become part of a group that we could set up. Um, anyway, those are the two ideas that I have right now.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Any others?
Is there any way to keep the question on the screen?
Yes.
So, well, you say most effective ways. I think one of the most, well, several ways. Um, First of all, have a quality presence online. If it looks rinky-dink, then it's not going to be attractive to college students who are used to online presence. That at least we have to be at the same quality as the online presence that's there. Um, we have to have something that's meaningful for them. Bring up some areas and uh, mental health and wellness, relationships, communication, social justice, advocacy, purpose and calling. Uh, but when I speak to my son about certain things, if he doesn't see the meaning, he doesn't see the purpose, he don't want to be bothered with it. It's not. I just don't have time for that. I'm looking for something serious. And he's 33. To be in a master's program. We're planning on it, but I think if we can reach out in a meaningful way uh, and have an excellent website, um, quality programming, relevancy. And there's a lot of background noise. And I'm not sure where that's coming from. Sounds like somebody. Can you hear it? Anybody else, or it's just me?
I hear it.
You hear it? Everybody?
Let's do this. I'm gonna try to mute everyone, and then when you want to speak, just unmute. How about that?
Oh, I'm finished. If you're recording, so you got everything. I don't need to repeat it.
Yeah, I got everything. And so we have both of Dr. Crosby's who are seasoned saints of the church. So with Pastor Jamil and with Takira, they're younger generation. So what's some ways you can contribute to this question with your age?
I feel like
So
for me, oh, okay, for me, I find it easier. When I was in school, we would get flyers, and it was straight to the point. Um, I feel like if it's more relatable, it's not like black and white. We have all the information there, sometimes some color, something that really catches your attention. I feel like that makes a difference rather than just seeing like a paragraph on Facebook of what somebody's doing. Group Me, Discord, those types of group chats where you can send videos and you can stay connected with different people. But most importantly, just how you put the information out there. I feel like that plays a big part, and especially like remembering what you got going on.
yeah, I think at least what I would do if we're looking for ways for a local church to use digital platforms to connect with nearby college students is to literally have the college students run the platform. So I'm looking at it from another perspective. What you could do is just allow first, creating that relationship with college students. Maybe there's some already a part of the church. Let them run the platform. They know what it is that their peers are on, what they're using, and offer some sort of an incentive, like saying, hey, if you're in the social media field, if you're in college for communications or something like that, they can now intern. They're doing a volunteered internship at New Life Church that can go towards work hours. And so now they're invested in your social media platform, bringing you up to wherever it is that your ministry wants to be. And then they're also able to word things and connect with their peers on the college level. So I would say the best way to reach them is to use them in reaching them.
So those are good suggestions, especially utilizing those that are majored in certain areas and get them to do internship at the church. That way they are invested. That's good. That's good. We have 7 questions. This is the first one. The second question, because it may kind of bleed over into some other things. Second question is, how can digital discipleship supplement or launch an on-campus ministry presence? See, the way I'm looking at it is not just enough to try to connect with them for them to be part of the church, but we should be looking to be part of their atmosphere and on their campground. And so we know that certain institutions do have a space for the spiritual side of the academic life. And so, how can digital discipleship supplement or launch an on campus ministry presence? Let's go in reverse. Let's go Pastor Adams, Takira, Dr. Chris, and then Dr. Charles.
Digital discipleship supplement or launch an on-campus ministry. Yeah, I need a minute to let this one twirl a bit, and I need to chew on this one a minute.
Okay, well, while you chewing, let's go with Takira. Go ahead, Takira.
Let me chew on it for a little bit too.
Okay.
A little bit.
All right. So who do not need to chew on it? If you can answer it. You're muted.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Doc.
Go ahead, man. If you got something.
No, go ahead. I mean, not right now.
So it's difficult to launch an on-campus ministry, at least at the two colleges that I teach at. It has to go through this and that, and it's got to be approved and all those kind of things. But the digital discipleship, it's regulation on that, so that if some sort of way through digital discipleship, you can, using the idea that was just given, to have students do it. If you have in your church, if we have in New Life some outreaches, some places where we're feeding the homeless, where we're activists in some sort of area, we're tutoring students, that sort of thing, because I believe college students are eager to be involved. Now, some are not, some are, but discipleship part, I think we should use students as Pastor suggested, but to do the discipleship part, we need to have something for them to do, something interesting, something that excites them, something that says, hey, you can be a part of something going on. Now, in time, perhaps you can get it on campus. I think at Tech we have one Bible ministry. Is it Campus Crusade for Christ? What it was? Right, and they had to get approved and everything, and we had one meeting every week, and we were able to get our pastor to come in and give talks every Wednesday at lunchtime. So Pastor Boswell was the pastor there, and he could come in, but to get to launch an on-campus ministry, that's you're gonna have to get the college approval, and you may be able to. I'm not saying you can't. Digital discipleship part, you could launch a ministry. You could get them involved in our church, but I don't know if it would necessarily be on campus, so to speak. If I'm making sense.
Yeah, you're making sense. Let me say this, Dr. Crosby. Whenever one of you are talking, the other person who's not talking should mute. I think that's what that sound is. But so as our other two are chewing on it, does on-campus ministry have to be on campus? Can on-campus ministry be done at a church on the outside and still be considered on-campus ministry to avoid that legalism of going through the process?
So I think I would, Pastor Newbill, if no one else was speaking, I'm sorry, I don't want to cut anybody off. I'm glad that you mentioned, maybe on campus could technically be off campus. We were saying on campus, but it may be difficult being on campus. And I'm not sure, I've been out of college for quite some time now, but when I was in college, I was looking for any and every opportunity to get off of campus. And so I'm wondering if the discipleship could literally be getting them off of campus and involved in some sort of community engagement type of something that would get them active and invested. There are times where I've gone and worked with ministries where we fed those that are unhoused, and just listening to the way that they speak, the way the testimonies that they've gone through, I'm actually learning and being blessed by people in the community just from me being active and being out there. So I think it could be a learning, it could still be discipleship, even if they're serving with New Life in the community by taking them off of campus, especially being that things have changed with how we get access to college campuses now.
Okay, that's good, because one of the questions I would have with that would be whether or not, as you mentioned, the discipleship will be to get them off the campus. Because at the end of the day, even though we're targeting those students on the campus, the whole purpose of the ministry is not just the campus and not just our church, it's the entire city. And so that can also help them do more community service outside that can be in affiliation with the church, but also as a representative of the school as well. Dr. Chris, you unmuted. Go ahead.
I think I agree with everyone. I think I agree with the off-campus ministry. I'm responding to your question. The on-campus ministry. Now, when at York Tech, we have what was called Christian Fellowship. And with Christian Fellowship, it was already established. And I don't think that we were restricted to involving just campus students. That's how we were able to invite other people in. So we could look for, I think our first goal is to see what's available on campus already, and then make that presence on campus to see what else might be added. And it can be, if there's something on campus where we could come in and work with them, or say in the case of a Bible study, online Bible study. I think the first stop would be to see how we can make that happen. So that means we have to make a presence there. But I agree with Pastor Jamil that pulling them off campus is a very good idea, and involving them in whatever it is that we have that they can become a part of. But if they have something on campus already that we can feed into and say, how can we supplement you? How can we help you to enhance your program on campus? I think that's one way to do it. But then on the other hand is allowing them to come alongside of us and work with some projects that we have. So that's all I have.
Okay, that's good. Let's go to our third question. Excuse me. What social media or digital tools resonate most with students today? I think Takira had mentioned some of those already. And how can we use them intentionally for outreach? So since Takira mentioned some of those, can you share some of those again and explain to us what it is? Because I only know it because my sons have told me what it is. Mm-hmm. But for those that don't know, can you share some of those digital tools or media, social media outlet that we can utilize for that?
So I feel like the major one that comes to mind would be GroupMe. I feel like for those who don't have iPhones, GroupMe is just a way for, especially when I was in school, it was easier to send information, send grabs, take polls, just share information. And it was a smooth way to send information. You can see when people read the messages. You can provide comments back on messages. Discord it's basically the same thing as GroupMe. I would say even using TikTok. Um, TikTok is a good way to reach out to college students, especially with putting information out there about different programs. A little 15-minute, or not 15-minute, 15-second video. Just the quick, easy things rather than just texting all the time. Using just a normal phone, just using a different platform, but for sure highlighting GroupMe, because anybody can use it.
Okay, that's good. I was hoping you did say TikTok because it seemed like TikTok is one of the best means to get short bursts of information out. But not only can you do that, you can also video so people can see what's being done. I think Dr. Charles Crosby mentioned earlier that his son, he needs to know what I'm doing or what I'm a part of and how it's going to be impactful. And with TikTok, I'm saying TikTok because I know how to use it. TikTok, you're able to not only talk briefly about what you're doing, you can give them the content to let them see what benefit it is in joining. And so, any other suggestions, social media or digital tools that resonate with today's students? Dr. Crosby, what do you use when you teach the students there at York Tech? You're muted.
We were virtual, and so I still have some classes virtual. Others college in North Carolina is all virtual. We use Team, we use Zoom, with social media stuff, Facebook and all of that. We pretty much stay away from it. It's whatever the college has purchased as part of their package. That's where we're stuck with using.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but now the students use everything. Students communicate back and forth using all of those, the GroupMe and all the rest that they use. On our family app, we use WhatsApp. Some reason they chose that, I don't know. That's what the family, when we're talking back and forth as a family. So I'm really not familiar with it. I'm gonna defer to Kira.
I know WhatsApp is easy because it doesn't matter, as Takira mentioned earlier, it doesn't matter if you have iPhone or Android, you're still able to get the same quality.
Yeah.
In fact, my wife was recently in Greece, and even though she had the international plan, it didn't work well calling one another. So using WhatsApp was actually better doing FaceTime, or video chat. Let me say video chat because FaceTime is Apple, but video chat and texting was easy that way. Pastor Adams, you're unmuted. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say you need an inside man. You need a student that you work with, someone that is on the inside that knows what their peers are using, what would be most effective. So if you're going for, which school is the target school, and is there a particular is there already a certain demographic of those students that are coming to your church? If there are, they tell us exactly what it is that they use and how they believe it would be most effective to reach their peers, and which platform it would be. I personally, I think what comes to my mind is TikTok and Instagram, because those are the ones that they use the most. On TikTok, they're talking about, everyone that use Facebook, they're all old people, and I love Facebook. And I don't think I'm old. But to them, I'm old because but yeah, so like Facebook may not relate to the current college students as much as TikTok or Instagram. Actually, I don't even know if Instagram may be fading out a little bit, and it could be more, TikTok and Snapchat or something. I don't know. But we need someone that's on the inside that can help us to really fully grasp what it is that attracts the attention of their peers, and then using that to minister to them.
Right. Because what sense does it make for a church to try to force their information or force the relationship when we don't know who and what they actually use? Then we're just beating the dead horse. And so that's really good, having the inside person. All right, let's go to our fourth question. Fourth question says, in what ways can students at the local university be invited to co-create digital content that reflects their faith journey and challenges? Here's one reason why this is necessary. So in South Carolina, the universities that are in Rock Hill, one of the things that I've discovered is that most students live before coming to the school at least 90 to 95 minutes or miles away. So they can literally go home every weekend and be home in an hour and a half. South Carolina or the southern part of North Carolina, depending on what it is. So some of them are only engaged with their church, their home church, and they're only engaged on the weekend. But I believe that there are some students that want to and essentially go out on their own and discover their own ministry or discover how they can contribute to their religious and spiritual needs at a church somewhere closer to where they don't have to travel so much. So how can we invite them to share in the digital content of their faith journey or challenges between our church and their personal life?
I think Takira mentioned it already. You got to get the information to them. And she suggested flyers that may be distributed on campus. I don't know what their policy is. Or using, again, social media to advertise. But the information has got to get to them. They have to be invited. So whatever means we need to engage in, to invite them. And then once we invite them, we got to have something that draws their attention, that they're interested in, that's relatable to them.
Okay, that's good. Any other comments on that?
Agree with that. I think we do need an inside man, or inside lady, or woman, or some kind of contact inside. At least walk around the campus, maybe in the CAF, listen to folks and stuff, and just kind of have an inside person that can kind of tell you what the flavor is on campus, what seems to be going on. Now, this I mentioned, maybe I didn't, but we could have workshops, seminars, online. I don't know if they want online classes, but small groups. But we still need the inside contact. We still need some sort of way to reach them, to get them together. I'm feeling that the students like to be together. When I'm on campus, I see students walking together. I see, they might be leaving class or something, and usually somebody's with somebody else, or there's a group of them and they're going to lunch, or they're going to the next class together or something like that. So some sort of way to reach them. Inside person seems to be the best suggestion so far.
I think one way that we could perhaps make some kind of inroads into making them aware is, I believe Winthrop has what is called a convocation. Is that correct, Takira? And it's during that time where organizations get to know each other. You get to know different people on campus. Am I correct in that? It's been so long since, I'm like Jamil, it's been so long since I've been involved in Winthrop. And in other words, what are their big days where their student, sort of like student orientation, or you want to invite the community in, if we could find out what days they do that. And I'm thinking convocation is one of them. It may not be, but that we would have our stuff together. We would get asked for permission to go and talk with the students and let them know what we have available, or what, some of the things that we're planning, so that we might stimulate their interest and maybe give them some times and ask them the best, what is the best way to communicate this information to them. But those special days, we have it at York Tech. We call it York Tech, is it Tech Fest, where we have different entities coming in, vendors, and we give away stuff. It's a fun day. And all kinds of things are happening on that. Some of the clubs are there talking about what they do and trying to, and so that's what we want to do, is find out when that day is and get permission to go on campus and say, hey, we are New Life. This is what we're doing for the next 6 months or even this year. What would we need to do to get you to come and participate? For example, we're planning a health day. There are perhaps people on campus that could help us with that, with different aspects of that. So find out when their big days are, or when that orientation day is. That's not the correct term, but whenever they have the day where these groups get together.
I agree with that. On that Tech Fest, it was 2 Saturdays ago, and they were inviting the entire community to come. I think they had something like 800-900 folks that came. I guess they had to register or come in and sign in or whatever, but clubs on campus, but they were inviting the community. So we could send our young people over there to look at the programs, but to figure out what's going on or how things are operating on campus. It was totally open to the community. So we were being invited there. We just didn't have anyone to go.
So one of the things that I'm realizing is talking about a connection between the university and the church. And so that kind of goes into the next question. What are some creative ways to bridge online engagement into in-person relationship with students on campus? See, my understanding is the ultimate goal isn't just to be online. The ultimate goal isn't just to be virtual. The ultimate goal is to establish engagement one-on-one. And so with our church, we know that we are trying to establish a children's building. And I can foresee, as was suggested, we can utilize this children's building to help some of the students come over and assist with our children's ministry, but what we can also contribute to them in their engagement and a relationship. Building their relationship is necessary. So what are some creative ways to build online engagement that doesn't stay online, that it ends up being an in-person relationship with students on campus? Let me ask this differently. Pastor Adams, you are the children's pastor at Mount Rubidoux in Riverside, California. What are some ways that you have engaged your children both online, so that when they see you in person, it's like, hey, I know him, because I know that you've done some videos online. You've done some engagement where you created content for online purposes. And then when they come into the building on Sabbath mornings, they know you a little bit more. I think of the puppet ministry. I think of the video that you've done with the what's it called, Rubido kids. What are some creative ways? I hope that answers are kind of crystallize the question. What are some creative ways to build that online presence, but also connects them to be have a closer relationship with the person in person?
Yeah. So for me, how it started was just honestly creating a children's story for New Life. You actually asked me to do a children's story, and I pulled out some puppets and created an online children's store. And then from that, it just kind of blew up. Individuals started seeing it. It went viral. And what I realized was that individuals want, and at least parents, when it comes to their children, at least, they want to see what you're doing. So what I've been doing to maintain that momentum is literally just taking pictures and videos of what we're currently doing in our ministry, and it attracts more. So last year we did a theme on it was a Toy Story theme. We did it You've Got a Friend in Jesus. And so for our children's story at church, I dressed up as Woody. I had the cowboy hat, I had on the flannel and everything, had the rope and everything, and did a children's story. All I did was posted a small clip of how I looked on stage at a church, and people were interested and trying to figure out, okay, what are they doing there? How in the world do you relate Woody to church and Jesus? So pretty much taking snapshots, taking videos of things that you're currently doing and submitting that online. And honestly, it will grasp the attention of those that find the interest in it.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Because I don't want to hold y'all too long, I think he answered that question. So let's go to the sixth question. How can we disciple students in a way that teaches them to follow Jesus in a digitally saturated and often secular campus culture? This question has to deal with how can we separate the secularness that will be there and allow them to have a spiritual connection with Christ, separating the spiritual from the secular. Do we need to chew on that?
Mhm.
Well, here's one thing I want to know. Is this even possible? Are we able to put a divide in between the spiritual and the secular?
I think it's about a culture, creating the culture. If they're comfortable in your environment, if they're comfortable at New Life, and they know this is a place where I can express and learn more about Jesus, and just kind of receive what God has for me in my life, they won't be ashamed or afraid to share that and to share with other students, those their peers who they come in contact with. Hey, I found a safe place where we can talk about God. I found a safe place where we pray, and we eat good food and we fellowship, and there are people that pray over me, and I've seen God work as a result of me being a part of this ministry. So honestly, I think you make them, the ones that are coming, the ones that you have access to, you make them comfortable enough to be able to open up where they trust you, you trust them, and then they begin inviting those around them because
Mm-hmm.
they have something that they can't contain to themselves. They just have to share it.
That's good. That's good. Any other thoughts on that?
Yes, I forgot it just that fast. Oh, come on. Ooh. First of all, if we're gonna make disciples, we have to be what we want them to be. We gotta model what we're talking about. I got it now. Practical Christianity, not doctrine, not but practical Christianity. How was Christ practical? Did he make sense for the everyday man? Does he make sense for does it make sense to have a relationship with Christ on campus? How does that influence my studying? How does that influence my relationship with my peers? How does it influence my dating? Making it practical and realistic. I think when we had I can't think, is it Rodriguez? Not Rod, he's not, it's not Rodriguez. It's somebody from the Southern Union that came that had
Yeah.
his Air Force Ones.
Roger Hernandez.
Hernandez, right. Very practical, everyday Christian preaching. I mean, he covered the doctrines, but he covered them in a way that was practical so that you could talk about it. We even invited questions at the end of his sermons. I think the outreach needs to be, I think that's what you said, it teaches them to follow Jesus. I think the outreach has to be very practical. I call it practical Christianity, everyday Christianity.
That's good.
I think we need to use that old phrase of each one reach one. If we disciple our young people and then they go out and invite people, and I've seen it happen at least 2 times. I'm sure it's happened more than that. But if you don't mind me using you, Takira, when I had Takira to teach, help me with Sabbath school, and without me asking or anyone asking, she invited someone from her college. And that person was very interested. And then I saw Devine invite her friend. That's a teenager that did the same thing. And so we have to work with our own youth and help disciple them so then they can go out and influence their friends. Now, I like the idea of what you said, Pastor, today, is we have to expose our young people, and we don't do that. So if we can send 1 or 2 people to Beta, because this is where they learn that there's more to Adventism than right there in New Life. I want to thank my husband for that, because when I joined New Life, it was about 10 members, and I said, this ain't going to get it. So he took me around the country and let me know that this is not Adventism here, right here. I mean, not all there is. There was Adventism, but I went everywhere. And what I found out was everywhere we went, he knew somebody. It didn't matter where we went. And we were newlyweds. So I'm saying, how in the world this man can know all these people? But that's the Adventist circle. So now when I go places, I know people. It's that connection. So when we instill that in our young people, even if we don't have but 2 or 3 people, if we can just instill that in them and let them, each one reach one, go out and bring somebody in. That's how it's done to me. But we can't, we got to work with our young people. And that's where, to me, we have dropped the ball, is we're not doing enough with our young people.
So just for those that are tuning in, and when you hear her say the word Beta, that's BAYDA, and that stands for Black Adventist Youth Directors Association. And Beta is basically a youth congress. It is a 5-day event in which young people come together. They worship Christ. They are in their own atmosphere where they're learning different important lessons in life, but there's also fun and that camaraderie, that friendship that's established. Listen, what's interesting is somebody is going to find their future spouse at Beta. Somebody's going to meet their future spouse at Beta. Somebody is going to actually meet Jesus for the first time at Beta. And so these are important because it allows our young people the opportunity to see other young people celebrate, worship God in a different manner. And so that's very good. Okay, we're on our last question. What barriers might exist for students discovering or connecting with a church online, and how do we remove those? One of the barriers that I have seen, was mentioned twice, and that's poor productivity and poor producing. That will lose them in a heartbeat. Honestly, I believe that COVID was an opportunity for our churches to catch up to the standard of what a service should look like. And what I've discovered is um, a lot of the seasoned saints don't think that it takes all that for certain things. So, for instance, in our area, there is elevation worship. There's some other likeness type of services and churches in it where they have the fog, the lights, you have the powerful music, you have music for an hour, and then you have a 30-minute message. That's what young people want nowadays. But if our church don't understand what they want, we're going to be force feeding and spoon feeding them what we like, and we're going to lose them. And so, what other barriers might exist for these students that's discovering or trying to connect with the church online? And how do we remove those barriers?
I think that for us, services in general could be a like long services online could be a barrier, especially when you just to expect someone to sit on their phone to watch a long service, one camera view, a lot of dead space in between, that kind of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
what I've learned is that you can be more impactful posting a 15-second clip of a powerful moment in your sermon, posting that, and that capturing and getting thousands of views just from a 15-second clip of a 30-minute sermon. And they're just like, wow, that spoke to me. And then before you know it, they're looking for the next clip and the next clip.
Mm-hmm.
So I think um, as it relates to social media, you don't have to post the entire service or everything that's going on, but post those highlights to let people know, look, this is what's going on here. If you want to see what else we do, you gotta come on by, drop by and see what we're doing here.
Mm-hmm.
But just give them a highlight on social media, and make it the best highlight that you can, so that there's not so much pressure in trying to do an entire worship service when you may not have the resources to do that.
And they have apps, and they have online programming that will help you carve out the best portions of your services. It's called Opus Clips, and I've used it many times for my. Pastor Adams is smiling as he said certain things because he's talking about me with my long sermons and our long services from time to time. But you can take a 3-hour worship service and put it into Opus chat, not Opus, but Opus Clip, and they will take out the strong portions of the service and just cut it down to 15 seconds, 35 seconds, and they'll even tell you if this is a trendable video. It'll tell you what's trendable, what's not. And so that's really good. That's really, really good. I also want to suggest a barrier that we need to remove is growing up, they told us, don't use your phones in service. Your whole attention needs to be on the preacher and the ministry that's taking place. I think we need to remove that barrier. I think that we should actually encourage the usage of our phones. You can tweet out certain stuff. So I've created my sermons to be more tweetable information. There's tweetable quotes or shareable quotes that when they share it, it will cause and generate interest. And so those are some barriers that I've seen. What are some other barriers that you've seen? And what do we need to do to remove them?
I would agree with Pastor Jamil. Long services, and even if you do record your message, to sit there for 2 hours or whatever. But I don't know if you all have seen, I agree with what you said, the clips. Has anybody ever seen the Gospel according to Luke? He's I think he's 7 or 8 years old. And I look at him a lot because they give just about 2-3 minutes, and it's his highlight. He's I guess his intentions is to be a minister, but he really goes for it in those couple of minutes that he's preaching. So that does invite people to want to hear more, but also long services. So we get people in our church, they're not used to long services, then to me, that's a barrier to them coming back. So that's all I have.
That's good. Any other thoughts?
I feel like a barrier would be not necessarily like a new life, but just like the lack of like stuff that relates to the college students. I find it easier to pay attention to the sermon when it's stuff that I can relate to, things that are going on in my life or things that I might have to deal with later in life. So just stuff that relates to me. I feel like sometimes many churches, because it's like age gaps, 6 youth and it's a whole lot of older people, there's no way sometimes to reach both of the groups. So just being relevant in just what you preach and what you say, I feel like that makes a big difference. That's a barrier that is easy to remove, but that's something that makes a big difference.
That's good. So, Dr. Crosby, Dr. Charles, you got your mic unmuted. You'll have the last word, and then we'll close up.
Okay. So, some barriers. Dress. If everybody thinks that you got to come to church dressed up, and Sunday go to meeting clothes, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. The times of the worship. When we go to Atlanta visiting our kids, and we especially this Elizabeth Baptist, a lot of college students there and that sort of thing, and they're using their cell phone. The pastor has the outline for his message on this, or you just download their app. I think somebody else did the app, but they're connected to it. You download the app, you can download the outline for the message, and several of the places in the message, he's got blanks, and he fills them in from the pulpit, okay? And then you can type them in on your phone. All of the scriptures are on your phone, okay? So that they're constantly in and out. They're listening to what he's saying, but they're looking at the phone. So I agree with you, Pastor, that can be, and they have 3 services. Well, they have enough people that they can have 3 different services, so that a college student that wants to come at this time can come, and some that want to come at a different time. But if they wake up and they say, well, by the time I get dressed and get over there, the service will be over. Ain't no need of me going.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the barrier, is a timing. But I don't know if New Life can do anything with that. But if the dress that we wear, we can overcome that with dress down days, or just come as you are Sabbath all the time. If we could get that passed, I don't know. And use of so if you're going to use your cell phone, we got to have a Wi-Fi for them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Am I right, Takira? We got to have a Wi-Fi that says New Life CA, and you can log on to our Wi-Fi. And it's got to be nice. It's got to be a 5 or something. I don't know if there's a 6 or 7 now, but it's got to be fast. So those are some barriers, but that costs money. There's some other obstacles that college students don't have a lot of money. So are they going to be able to contribute to the financials of the church? But I don't know. We probably shouldn't even be concerned about that and let Jesus handle that. But that can be a barrier as far as the in-house folks, the folks that are there, looking at it and say, well, why should we invest all this money? We're not going to get a return. You know, some people are just crazy like that. But you're asking for barriers. There's some barriers in-house and some out, I guess. So that's my last word. I'm gonna be quiet. And
I don't think we'll ever get over the barrier of this
yeah,
is how we used to do it.
yeah, oh yeah, there we go.
I don't know if we'll ever get over that barrier. People unwilling to change, and so that makes it difficult. That
Yeah,
makes
but
it difficult to invite young people in to think that we still have to do it a certain way. We have to wear the same thing. That practical Christianity that my husband is talking about is just meeting people where they are.
Yes.
Because once they know Jesus, that's what makes the difference.
yeah,
That's correct. Well, I appreciate it. There has been some great conversation and also some good advice. The prayer for us is that we don't just talk about these things, we actually be about these things. And just like Jesus said, I must be about my Father's business. And so he didn't just talk the talk, he actually walked the walk. And so for us, we're going to walk the walk. And so this is the panel number 1 of 5. And we're going to consolidate this. And the plan is to have a workable plan for us to relate to the community, relate to our students, and change this narrative that the problem that created that we have no ministry presence within the local universities. And so we want to have a ministry presence, not because we think that we need to check a block, not because we want to pound our chest and say, look what we've done, but we want to build the kingdom of God through next generation ministry. And so God bless you. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, and I'll see you when I see you.